Welcome to
Unfiltered Growth.
Real talk on trends and strategies. This podcast is your weekly dose of reality-checked wisdom.
As we explore the intersection of entrepreneurship, marketing, culture, business, and innovation.
We strip away the BS and dive into real challenges and opportunities for revenue growth.
With a sharp, unfiltered lens.
Expect raw conversations, real success,
and failure stories,
and practical advice that you can apply to your journey.
No filters,
just growth. What up, Troy? How are you doing today?
You know, that's a phenomenal question to ask. And you know what? Today I am feeling a lot of things. And I think it's going to lead into a really good episode.
Tuned into therapy with Troy and Christina.
You know what? Honestly, you know how it is when you're handling clients. Like 75% of it is just being technical therapists, of just unraveling all the things as to, I'm not here yet. Can you help me? Well, we got to figure out why. But I feel like we don't do that enough for ourselves. Not to get too deep, but this is unfiltered. So here it is.
For real, though. And I feel like a lot of times when you're working with so many different clients, you need like someone like you, Troy, to be the therapist for me as well, just because you navigate their own things they're going through internally, like personally, and then their business, and then us as like empaths, and I'm sure others will relate to this, is that like you feel what they're feeling, but then there's some clients that you're like, I don't really want to feel what you're feeling because you're giving me these vibes that it's hard for you to get through because it's just so like, I'm going to talk to them in 10 minutes and what are they going to come at me today with? And navigating that is hard. But sometimes what I've learned is that you kind of have to speak your truth in those moments, because half the time, I would say 100% of the time, it's not you. And it might not even be them. It might be the unknown of you guys both coming in this like, and just be unfiltered with that person, because it'll help you navigate hard conversations and will help you get to that creative point that you guys can be at together.
And let's be real. In this episode, I think diving into not just the mental health component of you as a, client to your clientele in that relationship, but also understanding like you have to have certain boundaries. And let's be real. There's a correlation between cheap clients that drain the living mess out of you, and they keep it up all night, want to add more things, modify more things, change more things, versus those higher level clients who are harder to get. I get it. When you get it, they'd be like, this is good. I trust you. What do you think? And you just be like, oh, yes, thank you. And you just feel that energy. And I think we have to understand when we're trying to grow and achieve that next level of growth, sometimes we're going to have to say no to immediate money, because the energy and the pain that comes with that money ain't worth the problems. It is not worth it. But that requires a growth mindset and not a survival mindset of just, I'm going to get whatever comes my way. And you're out of luck. You're not making any profit at all. But, we got 25 clients, but we're not making real revenue. And sure, some of that is maybe you haven't positioned yourself in the right way. You're not having the conversations with the right people, but it's also have the boundaries of what's your no client list look like? Like, what are the characteristics of people we don't want to work with, and be bold about that and be okay with it, because it's going to protect you from yourself.
That's such a good statement you said about like almost protecting you from yourself, but also the whole situation. And I was on a call last week. Oh my gosh, no, this week. It's Friday, and I think it is Friday. Yeah, it's Friday. And this person was saying, when they look at pricing, they're very, very like value based. In my mind, I'm like, okay, that means they might be cheap. Like they might not align with our pricing. And so then they went on to say, but we have the mindset of, if you pay peanuts, you'll get monkeys. So I was like, okay, you're value based, but you also see value in good work. And so in my mind, I'm like, how how do they want to grow? Like their spend that they want to spend for ads is a nice amount of coins, as I have shared with you, Troy. But the value-based statement, for me, it's like that blocker. So how do I get over that mindset of if someone says, oh, we're really value-driven pricing, and value for me, it's like, oh, I go to Walmart to get the value doesn't mean I'm going to get that asparagus value of Whole Foods,
Right.
So it's sometimes it's even on a landing page for like SaaS companies, if you have like value or very fast-driven, quickness of the cheapness, quote unquote, people have a mindset on that. And that's just how it's stated in your either it's services or if it's a software having value. I feel like it could be a blocker for growth in stating that within your services or how your software is priced, because you get a value-based team. Like, I don't want your value-based team. I want that exceptional, amazing team. And yes, there might be different like CSMs for different levels of payment. 100% get that, but it's how you present it in your offer, I feel.
What I'm hearing, we need to know our value. We have to establish and prove our value. And then we have to deliver our value. So know, prove, deliver the value. But even in that, right? So we talked about the mental component piece. We're talking about maybe insecurity. We're breaking these boundaries and chains, and maybe you're exploring a new market, or trying to double down on your established market, and you don't know. Well, I need to make this amount of money, but things are. And every entrepreneur, every business have dealt with that. But at the same time, you kind of got to hold true to what you believe in. And I don't think people talk about that enough. And to your point about pricing, especially as minority businesses, many times we choose the lesser because we never think we can get a bigger piece of the pie. And that shouldn't be the case. But people don't talk about that either. Oh, just make the price. No, we have to go through the mental breakdowns of like, am I worth that price? And then can I convince people of that price? And yet people lead with how much pain. If your pain is big enough, you're going to pay. And that's true in some regards. But I also think if you align with Christina, Troy, you all are both partners to help us achieve that goal and reach that next level of joy that we want. I feel like that's just as good energy. I don't have to go always in the dark mode. And here it is. We can come on the light side of it and try it that way. But I think it's hard. It's not easy. And there's no like magic wand to make it any better. We do have to go in those trenches,
And I feel like the magic wand, if it were to be one, is not like a pixie dust, fairy dust type of Tinkerbell, but the magic wand is really having conversations with your customers, because your true limitations you'll have with your company is not putting, I'm not saying put customers first, like, yes, and I do not think the saying of the customer's always right is a saying. Like, I worked in retail in high school, and the customer's always right ain't anything, because that's just not a thing. But if you don't listen to your customers, you truly are going to have blockers in your growth, because you won't have strategic alignment with the customers, or you might even be talking to the wrong set of prospects after talking to your customers, because their value or the value they're getting from you could be different than what your persona is. I'm just saying a name because it's all about alliterations here, and it's something that I feel people, especially for me, when I was so ingrained in like the inbound methodology for so long, and you create those persona like profiles, and it's always, they read this and they like iced coffee from wherever. And yes, that is great, but you can't just set that as your brand standard and like the value that you're thinking. You have to keep growing with that, with like a growth-driven design aspect, just as you are with your product. Your product has updates, so your brand needs updates too. Otherwise, they will not be coexisting in value, and people will see that as a lack of value when they're working with you as a service or with your software.
I agree. And I think of it just like courting. Like if you came to the table and you're listing everything you found out about me online, like you went to high school here, you was this, you've done this, you've been this. Yeah, those are things that are of me, but can we have a conversation so I can get to know you and you know me, and we can have this moment of connection? I think, now the pressure is so high and people are carrying so many different roles and loads, and the demand is great for all these different things. And we live and die by the slightest margins of data, when really it's just we're not having enough conversations with the right people, and we're not communicating in the right way to them for them to not only understand but see the possibilities of what the value could look like. And let's take a deep breath. Like, it's hard, and I feel like in this day and age, everyone's looking for that magic wand, that secret bullet, just that one thing, that one landing page style, that one sales quote line, that one script that's just going to make it easier. No, when you're courting to try to win business, it is difficult. I don't care how many courses you buy. I mean, even if you're listening to this podcast episode right now, you have to do this and something else. It's not just one thing and you're hoping you're just going to be enlightened enough to just close the deals. It's the reps of it all, honestly.
And you made me so many sparks went off in my head when you're talking about like courting, because what I'm like, oh, and then it goes even to like dating profiles and questions like that and things that they put on like highlight reels, quote unquote, of themselves. But it's so interesting because in relationships, like intimate relationships, friendship relationships, prospect customers, whatever, or if you're looking for a new job, sometimes they're like, we want you to get X in the matter of 60 days. Whoever's writing that has zero clue probably about what the actual time of that is, because at the time of you reading a job description, at the time of you like learning about someone new, you don't know what that under hood looks like. So you don't know what you're coming into to help change what needs to happen. And when I was consulting for companies like Campbell's Soup and Reich and things like that, especially with the SEO, some of them were like, oh, my manager wants to rank. This was in like 2018. So this was a long time ago, and Google has changed a lot since then for the algorithm. Oh, but I know I want to change. I want to page one. I want to be on page one in like a month. I'm like, wait, what? You guys are on page 9 right now. So let's pull back the layers and see what you can do to get that infrastructure, that foundation created for you to be able to, in a month, get there. But you have to fix all of the other stuff before that happens, especially if you're talking SEO. And nowadays SEO, that's a whole other game because it's so AI driven. You have to think like a bot, essentially. Don't write like one, because Google will see that, but you have to think like one in the fastness. But you have to be a storyteller, but a storyteller that's direct, not a kid storybook where it takes about 15 pages to really do one thing. You got to get right to it,
My brain goes, I need to add one more layer. So I know I had know the value, prove the value, deliver value. You got to first define the value. And I think to your point, like many times we just run gun ho. If you're a new hire, a big brand, you're your CMO or director level, and you just want to come in here and make a splash. This is my territory now. We all know that is not the way to go. You got to make friends and figure out what is everyone else saying. Let me take inventory. We need to take inventory of where we're at and what we're trying to do. I don't think people do enough introspection. And I don't think we do enough investigation of like, what is working, what isn't working. And honestly, the hardest question, whether you're us as consultants or you're new on the job, you got to talk to your boss or your constituents and you're like, is this realistic? Like you echoed earlier, is this possible? Are you serious? Back to the courting and either the dating profile. I want 6'5". You got to have 200K a year. You go down this whole list, and everyone's turned off by that because that doesn't feel real. Because you get some of those things, sure, but it feels very platonic and not genuine. Like, can we be real on what's possible right now? And to the point of like, hey, we get the right people and we test, trial and error, and something starts working, like you said earlier. We can actually get there with a certain span of time, but to set these things now with nothing proven, hold them to those standards and of like, hey, Christina, it's been 2 months. This ain't working out. I'm out. And you're just churning folk left and right. You're never going to grow. You're actually going to dismantle in your demise.
Yeah. It's like when you eat a salad and you're like, where's my 6-pack? Like, that's just not a thing. Like, you're like, I'm eating healthy. Where is it?
I had one good sweat at the gym. I should be ripped right now. You go to that mirror.
Exactly. It's just the same. It's that short-term satisfaction, though, I will say, that can help you with that long-term elevation of your brand. And you and I are both like strategic, very visionary people. And I will say it's a blessing and a curse. Sometimes more of a curse than a blessing. Like recently, let's be real right now. But when I think about it in this kind of thought of like a blocker, is that short-term thinking can be so tempting because you are on a call with an executive and you're like, oh yeah, I can do that in 30 days. Oh, I can get that to you by Friday. Things like that, because you have that feeling of almost that rush because you need to prove a certain thing, or your job's on the line, or whatever it would be. But how does short-term thinking or the short-term satisfaction like hinder your long-term growth? Is something that I always think of before I answer, because one mistake, this is going to sound very dramatic, but I say this as kindly as possible. One mistake can really almost impact the rest of the campaign, or maybe it's a career choice, whatever it would be. So thinking truly in that short-term satisfaction, but long-term satisfaction in the growth of your business, because long-term thinking with short milestones helps you, but also helps you feel motivated, because then you can do like quick changes, quick moves on what needs to happen. And that's also at the gym. You're not going to get a 6-pack after one salad. That ain't going to happen. But if you do a salad maybe twice, Mama said twice a month. That's going to take you longer.
I wish.
Twice. Me too.
God, I wish.
If you got that magic salad beans, let us know. But twice a week. So you're changing it up, and twice a week, and you're going to the gym twice a week. You're going to see change. That's going to happen. It might be longer, but you'll see it. But you also see how your body adapts to it. Same thing with growth campaigns, strategic things that you're changing on your website. Your website's not going to rank one after one tweak, just as you're not going to get a 6-pack after one salad. You have to do certain things to get those wins, whether that win be a 6-pack or page 1 on Google, whatever one it is. It's those short-term milestones to get those long vision growth.
And that wraps up another episode of Unfiltered Growth. Make sure you subscribe, rate,
with 5 stars,
and leave us a review.
Remember, growth doesn't happen in isolation. Join our community of bold thinkers and doers on social media and stay connected.
Don't forget to go to season3media.com/podcast for strategy or event inquiries, resources, or to just chill with us.
Until next time, keep pushing boundaries, embracing diversity, and never stop growing. This is Christina and Troy signing off. And remember,
no filters,
just growth.